distinguished speakers, moderators, and as well as our delegates and participants from Malaysia. Can we hear a big round of applause to everybody? Come on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we start off our second section of Selling Internationally. We are pleased and privileged to present our distinguished panel speakers on stage. Let's welcome from Indonesia, Mr. Tremli Suyatman. And next, Mr. Nagarajan, NE Media Syndication India, from India. And from Indonesia, Encik Nafi Azhari, RCTI MNC Group Indonesia. And Mr. Muhammad Saeed Shiraz from Pakistan. And Mr. Rajesh Jatiani from Indonesia. And Mrs. Ratna Mahadi from Indonesia. And allow me to introduce our moderator, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Mahidin Mustaqim. Applause to our moderator. Over to you, Yang Berbahagia.
Terima kasih Saudara Pengerusi Majlis. Good morning everyone, how are you?
Morning sir.
We had a rather long day yesterday, but I think it was very productive. We had very good feedback from the participants, as well as good input from especially from our foreign guests who are here to share their experience. And today we follow up with the second session of the program entitled Selling Overseas or International Sales, What Do Buyers Want? We've got with us here a big panel, 6 of the, yesterday it was mentioned that we've got 100 years of experience, perhaps today it'll be more than 100 years of experience together, combined, up here on the stage. Welcome everyone. We shall start. We had a sort of a mini pre-council meeting just now, and they have selected their youngest of them to make the first presentation, mainly because he has made a presentation while the others are here to share their experience. So can we have, first of all, I'll go around for all of you to just say a few minutes about yourself so that you can introduce to the audience, who I believe shall prepare their questions for relevant to them. Can I go with you?
Good morning, everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Triandi. I used to work with the TV industry from 93. Maybe you know that I'm working as Indosiar. And then 2011, I'm joining TV and radio El Sinta. It's the most popular radio also in Indonesia. And also now, I also have my own company, distribution, consulting, and production house.
Silakan.
Good morning, everybody. Assalamualaikum. My name is Nagarajan, known as Naga. I've been in the industry for close to 30 years, doing content syndication business. It's my own business, and I started with my first business with Singapore Television, and it was very lucky start for my business, and I continue doing it, and we do global syndication, selling different language programs to various channels around the globe, and I attend about 8 international market every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ratna.
Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ratna Mahadi. I've been in the industry for about 28 years in Indonesia. I started my career in RCTI in 1988, and I moved on to open up new stations in Indonesia, such as Indosiar, Trans TV, Antv, and lately was TPI, the new TPI. Now I'm a consultant. Starting in 2012, I'm a consultant to several entities such as Fox International Channel, Da Vinci Channel, Astro even, and now I am representing here Falcon, which is a SVOD, and a pay TV channel called Spacetune. So anything later you can ask me.
Okay, we'll move on first.
Hi, good morning. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Rajesh Jaktiani, the CEO of Spectrum Film Indonesia. We are basically an independent distributor for content to all the broadcasters here. So basically, the friends I'm sitting on stage are my first competition and my first friends also, because we sell to them. And we supply content to broadcasters. We have our own YouTube channel for animations. We are also into film production, and recently we've launched our second film in Indonesia, which was released on 25th of October this year. We have another one coming up next year. And we are spending more time on the theatrical part because we see that developing a lot, and we're hoping our movies could come to Malaysia very soon. And probably towards the end of this panel, I would like to make an announcement, because one of our films, we've just signed up with one of the gentlemen sitting in the audience. Maybe I'll leave that for the end. That's all about us. I'll pass it on to Nafi.
Jake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. It's been an honor for me to be on stage with all my mentors here. They are all the seniors, so I'm just really very new in the industry. My name is Nafi, and I've been in the industry. It's only like been 10 years, and mostly I'll be on the free-to-air industry. So I'll be giving some shares about free-to-air in Indonesia. Okay, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Saeed Shiraz. I'm from Pakistan, and I've been in this trade since 1982, specializing in feature films initially, and then we diversified into television in around about 2004. And since then, but my first passion has always been feature films, and I'm very lucky to be sitting with the Indonesian friends of mine, because the first co-production which we did was with Indonesia. It was long back in 1980, and I'm really looking forward to doing something with Malaysia. Maybe we can break the ice. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. As you can see, we've got 200 years of experience up here on stage. Bush, give them a big round of applause. Both for theatrical films, movies, as well as for TV programs. They are also not just, they represent the broadcasters as well as being distributors. And I think that is just the ideal group that we want to interact with. Okay, gentlemen, ladies, I'm not going to repeat because it's going to be the same thing. Can you, from each one of you, what we are looking for is, from your observation and your experience, what kind of product from this region travels? What are the kind of products that people are looking for that we can provide? Yeah, and directly, for your information, we have invited quite a number of Indonesian friends here because they form the proportion, a bigger proportion, who are buyers of our product. Yeah, but at the same time, because they are also distributors, they would know what kind of product that that has the potential to travel, as we call it. So if you don't mind, we'll start with Nafi. And please feel free to add in some other items that you think would be of benefit to our members. Thank you. Nafi?
Okay, good morning. So I have some short presentation here so to answer about what the audience want from Indonesia. Okay. And 1 minute. It's not. Okay, so while we wait for the presentation, maybe I can give some shares about Indonesian. So sorry, I'll be standing. So in terms of Indonesia, we'll introduce about the Indonesia itself. So Indonesia is a very big country. So the question is what if you want to sell internationally your content into Indonesia? So number one, what you have to do is you have to do the research. You have to do the research about the Indonesia itself, because you can go to anywhere, any country, but if you don't know about your target, then it'll be like something is kind of useful. Oh, it's there already. Good. No? Okay, so first we do the research here. So about Indonesia, just a glance about Indonesia. Yeah. So it's coming back again. It's loop. Okay, so we have 267 million of population, and 55 of 3 of the population is in the urban. So with mean age about 28 years of Indonesian audience, living in a 17,508 island. So it's a big country. So from east to west, it's like 8 hours direct flight. So it's very big. So you have to target in your precisely your target in Indonesia. So here, since I'm in the free-to-air, so I'm like to share about the free-to-air perspective in Indonesia. This is the today free-to-air broadcaster players in Indonesia. Mostly those are the private-owned free-to-air. As you can see, there are 14 free-to-air in Indonesia. So it's a big market, different for Southeast Asia I still believe that this is the biggest market for free-to-air. And some of them is already been owned by the media group. So we have this MNC Media, we have the MTech Group, VC Media, and Transmedia. So this is we're gonna be narrow target on the Indonesia. So the TV population based on free-to-air population is around 48 millions. So this is gonna be your eyeballs target in Indonesia. 95% of them are watching TV like daily, and then average watching is like 5 to 6 hours per day. So it's really a long time to watching TV daily, right? And again, in Indonesia, is like a female who's in control, so they are holding the remote control. I don't know, maybe Malaysia would be the same too, right? Oh no, okay. So it's in Indonesia. Queen's rule. Yeah, it's common, right? Okay, I'm giving like this is the survey that based on the Nielsen, which is about the content against the time of duration. So we have the special programs, news, information, children, entertainment, movies, and series. Those are the content that demand in Indonesia. As we can see, the series are the most program has been supplied, highly demand, and they have like 19 minutes duration to watch content. So based on this, you have to know that the series are the most content that can be traveled to Indonesia. So again, if you want to go to Indonesia, what kind of the formula? I'm just sharing about the formula you might need to go to Indonesia. So good content is not enough. You have to be great content that which will generate the better rating performance and the revenue streams. Why I'm highlighting the rating? Because free to air, we still looking the data by Nielsen. We need to look the performance of the program through rating and shares and everything. A good rating program will be generate with revenue stream. So we have to still believe the creativity is endless. So you have to create, or you have to bring the new kind of content. So strong research about the content. So the importance of the promotion and marketing is also very important. And knowing the strategy when you're heading head-to-head with the competitor. So there are 14 free-to-air. So if you're targeting one of the station, you have to know your competitors also. But again, it's not just the value, but please consider your content as to be being exposure with hundreds of millions of eyeballs. Okay, this is my point of my presentation here. So what do Indonesian, so if you're targeting for the youngest females, then variety like music show, talent show, reality show will be their target. But if you have the entertainment, then will be on more to housewife, middle age of female. Again, sorry, for the housewife, they're more to drama, local series. So Korean, Turkey, Indian has been a good appeal of a good appetite for Indonesian audience. And then, what we the male what we watch is only for information, sports, documentary, and hobby. This is like a small portion of the audience. So this is like the biggest part of the audience. Yet you have to understand about the regulations also in Indonesia. The media in Indonesia is controlled by the Ministry of Communication and Informatics, and also we have the Broadcasting Commission and the Censorship Board. Sorry, so the content have to be no violence, no horror, and you cannot see this upside down Spider-Man kissing, no. So there's have to be no sex in here, right? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nopi. That was quite an insight into the Indonesian market, yeah? All right, we move on to, can I call Mr. Naga? Please.
Oh, hi friends, it is a great privilege to be at the desk to talk to you about my experience and my requirements for content. First of all, there are about 30,000 TV channels globally available currently, and it is only on the increasing trend. And so people who are in the production side or in the distribution side, there is a very big scope for this business. So don't get panic looking after the developments happening here. And even when TV came, everybody said radio will be closed. But this has not happened. Okay, radio is still there, and there are different people, for radio, and there are different viewers for television. So there is a high potential business, and if you can give a quality content, there is very good opportunity for every producers. Secondly, what we need in life, essentials of life is place to live, a place to eat, and now place to watch. So this is the criteria. Everybody wants entertainment. Without entertainment, nobody can survive, because they have hectic working. They have a lot of pressure, and to release that pressure, they want something entertaining them and the family, so that they come out of the stretch and everything. So there is a high, as I said, there is a high potential business, and all the producers, distributors, you can still continue in the same line of business. There is a high market for this. And I will come one by one. First of all, I'll take the what is the requirement of the my current buyers globally. I'll start with the animation. Okay, children are now very smart, and they want something very unique, and they don't want to really look at 2D production at all. They want just 3D colorful things. So my very sincere advice is that I've been buying some content from Malaysian animation studios, and they are doing a very good quality 3D animation. So my request to the producers of animation is to focus on producing 3D CGI. Instead of doing 2D, because really 2D not going to work out in future. Secondly, all the animation producers, they make an international track, and they keep script in English, so that easier for selling to different markets. Okay, that is point number 2. And especially, I know Malaysia, they don't keep the pig character. If you have a pig character, then selling in Middle East will be a big problem. So don't have the pig character as the main character in any of your animation, because you are restricting your business only to a local. Also, my very sincere request is, don't make it so localized from the dress code onwards. So don't make it so localized so that you are restricting your business to certain markets only. So your focus should be on animals, keep it on animals, keep it on general characters. Don't give dress code, starting with the dress code like your own country, because then you'll have only a restricted market. When you give a normal dress code, normal thing, then there is a potential. Also, I would like to say that, children don't want to see the same face of us on the screen. They want to see a different face. So if you see the Toy Story, you will see characters, not with the 2 eyes, one mouth and one nose. They will have a different characters. So children like those kind of characters, not a normal human thing. They want something differently to enjoy the screen. So I will also suggest that to keep it in mind. Then I'm coming to the films and drama series. Most of the films, they have M&D track and script, so there is always a very high potential market for dubbing to different languages on different countries. On the drama end, most of the producers, while doing the production itself, I now make a very sincere request to make an international track. And you include the cost of the English script in your budget. So when you, at the start of the program, making a show, you keep everything ready for a global marketing. Because there is a very high potential for every content to be sold internationally. Okay, because every channel cannot produce everything because of the restrictions. So they have to go for a syndicated content. If your quality of the content is very good, language is not a barrier. Anybody can dub it on their own language and they can use your content. So kindly make your serials, whatever you produce, right from the day one, keep it in mind that you are going to sell this globally. Keep that in mind and make a separate track, music and effect track, and make an English script. So that you don't need to wait for sales. Once you are done, you can give it to distributors like us, and we'll carry it to different markets. We attend about 8 international markets. Wherever there is a requirement, even for a cost price, if you can sell it to one territory to cover your translation, every cost, then you have one more IP with you, so which can be sold to other markets. Then I'll come to the documentary side. Please do your own food, travel, cultural, everything is very, very important. But when you do these kind of documentaries, again, please avoid usage of pork and alcohol on the food thing, because again it will have a restriction on selling in global markets. Certain markets they will not accept. And also you have one with the anchor with the local language, then you keep the program separately so that it can be voiced over to any other language. Okay, these are all the basic things I like to share with the producers here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Muda. Producers take heed. Those are the kind of things that we should be looking at. Quite basically, but will help in producing a attractive product that can travel well. Can we move on to?
Although maybe I would like to
Yes.
add, Swevik, just going away a bit, what Indonesia wants, what my friend Nafi just said. If everybody is in agreement, and with all due respect to the senior people on the panel, Indonesia is a very trendy and a very fashionable market. I mean, it's a huge market. And the good thing we have is all the broadcasters have a lot of guts. We have restrictions. We have the KPI, which is the Broadcasting Commission. We have the censorship. With keeping all that in mind, but the broadcasters there, I mean, everybody is looking for the next big thing, the game changer. Ratings is everything for broadcasters. I mean, what could be the next best program? The good thing about Indonesia is being such a big market, they do have the appetite for risk. I mean, I would give you, in a few words, an example of one of the broadcasters who were way down in ratings, and we tried to push them some Indian content, and apparently it did so well, they came from the number 13, 14 position to the number 1 position, which they had never seen, and they have been on number 1 for a good 3 years. Of course, then a lot of things changed because it became too much of Indian. Then Turkish content became very big in Indonesia. And in fact, we see a lot of Indonesian content coming to Malaysia, but it doesn't happen that a lot of Malaysian content comes to Indonesia. And I think that the main thing is because Indonesia, even the drama, it's very hardcore drama. So what we feel, what I personally feel, I don't know whether you agree with me, but the pace we need in the Indonesian dramas. Just to give you an example, in the first episode, it's a triangle love story. She's in love with one boy, but the other boy loves her. She gets married to one of them. She gets divorced. She has a kid, and then the husband leaves her, and she goes back to the other guy. All this happens in the first episode. So it's a lot. That is the hardcore drama we are used to. So the pace is very important. So if you want to sell to Indonesia, Turkish dramas are very well made, a lot of money spent, and it has done very well. The Indian dramas, the same thing. And now our local dramas, I mean, like I said, in one episode, all this happens. And yet, at times, we don't get the ratings. And they say, what did you do wrong? I mean, maybe Puratna would like to add on what she feels about what you guys can sell to Indonesia.
Yes.
All right. Well, what Nafi here has been presenting is very true. Indonesia is a very competitive market. There is about 15 stations, and they're all national. So we compete very, very highly in Indonesia with, of course, different programs and different creativities. In Indonesia, still, the king is the free television station. Every station in Indonesia has its own niche. Otherwise, it will not get there and will not survive. I have opened up 3 of the best stations in Indonesia, and with the differentiations of every station, we will always make the ratings. Oh, okay. As Rajesh was saying here, there's a lot of potentials to sell in Indonesia because, the genres only just turns around. There's Turkish, there's Indian, there is Malaysian programming, there's American programming, and it just turns around. As we know, we all know here, we're all broadcasters, or we know we're sellers here. It's just the momentum that you get into bringing up what is available at that certain time. Like Rajesh was saying, that number 14 station, well, they did it right because of the momentum of that Indian program. It has been aired in 1988, and all of a sudden we bring it back in the year 2000 or 2015, then it becomes a success. So, but in Indonesia, we haven't seen a lot of Malaysian programming. The big success in Indonesia for Malaysian programming is Ipin Upin. That also has been the momentum that we put Ipin Upin on prime time. It's never been as a station to put cartoon in prime time. But this one station, which happens to be Nashville Station, put it in prime time. So it hit the home run. And the ratings was there, and it became the #1 program, even with drama. It hit everything. It was the #1 program. So, therefore, and if I see Indonesia right now, where the potential can come in is your formats. A lot of formats that's very successful in the Malaysian market. You can always come to Indonesia, and we can always make it as an Indonesian program. That I have not seen yet, that has come into Indonesia. What success program that is in Astro, or maybe in Prima, Media Prima, or in RTM. That could be also a potential that producers here can come into Indonesia and make it as a format. But as we say, Indonesia is very competitive. It's a very fast pace. We can have a drama that's canceled within the 5th episodes, even if we buy 26 episodes, So everything has to be in that 5th episode, has to be really fast paced. Otherwise it will never take off with all the competitions right now. I come from, right now I'm consulting for SVOD as well as a pay channel in Indonesia. Even though free TV in Indonesia is still the king, but the development of SVOD, as well as the new media and pay TV, is getting up there. Slowly, but it's sure getting up there, especially SVOD and all the new medias. We're looking for, at least from where my part is right now, I'm consulting for one pay TV channel that is Spacetoon. We opened up Spacetoon about 5 years ago. How we're bringing it up and making it, developing, is that I niche it with one character of just, Spacetoon is just a cartoon channel. So it's, we're developing that as cartoon movies, cartoons with anime, preschool cartoons. So anybody who has got, that type of program can actually come into Indonesia with it, and we can look at those type of programs. The other station is, the other consultancy that I'm doing is an SVOD channel. It's it's called Falcon Pictures. It is a production company. They are making movies. They are also looking for, formats that is very big in Malaysia, that we can put it into Indonesia to make Indonesian films out of it. We're also looking for, it's a Falcon Picture. The SVOD is called clickfilm.net. I also niched it as only film because we are called clickfilm.net. So therefore, a lot of films, Malaysian films, Thai films, Turkish films, horror films we're looking for that we can put it into our services. There's a lot of competition as well. How we can develop it, how I believe to have this service is that, you know, we have to niche it because we have a competition of View, Hook, iFlix, Netflix. How our service is pretty good in Indonesia is because our company develops 25 movies a year, and that is only exclusive to our service. Therefore, because the company does quite well in the movie industry, we are doing quite well in the SVOD. Therefore, you know, if we have like Munafik and everything, we can actually bring it into our service.
Can I just ask, what are the potential for co-production with local players here?
Look, I think there's a big potential for co-production in Indonesia with the film industry. It's just a matter of, I think it's got to be different on what is going to come into Indonesia and not make the same thing that Indonesia is right now developing already. So, because if you come in with the same thing, they would say, well, in Indonesia, we've done it already, so you know, it's nothing new, so why would we co-produce? So that's how I see it, that if we want to co-produce with us, it's that more of a different story that we won't think of it, you know, so it's something new. So that's why you have to actually look at the picture of all the programmings in Indonesia, because I see that also documentaries for Ramadan also works very well in Indonesia. You know, the going through to Islamic countries, etc., etc. You know,
Like the Jejak Rasul, which you have here.
the Jejak Rasul and everything. And Ramadan is also a big thing in Indonesia. We do 30 episodes of everything, you know. But it is very tight in Indonesia. We can do one episode, I mean, you know, we can do the next, you know, we can produce quickly in Indonesia. So, you know, it's like the day before is for the day tomorrow. This is how we produce in Indonesia. That's why, you know, if the ratings doesn't go after 5 episodes, we get canceled and it gets onto another episode, a new title.
Terima kasih. Sandy.
Okay, I think all about Indonesia already open for you. So now I'm going to summarize the easy part of the ending of the speaker. So basically, maybe if you don't know about the schedule-wise, maybe I want to tell you first. Indonesia is I think the only country in the world who broadcast drama 7 days a week and produce 1 day per episode. I think in the world, is Indonesia can do like that. 7 days, never break the drama. At night they produce, the other night they broadcast. See, that's Indonesia. That's for drama. The second part, when we're talking about the variety show, is 7 hours a day. And Monday to Friday also, sleeping. Can you imagine from 6 o'clock p.m. until 11 or 12 o'clock p.m. finish the variety show? So I start from Malaysia co-production with the Mexican. I think you may remember the most program for the Academy Fantasia from Astro. When Academia Fantasy hit in Malaysia, I came to Malaysia in the final, and I feel that this is co-production can work in Indonesia. So I bring that format to Indonesia, but in Indonesia, a little bit changed. Then we broadcast 6 hours a day. So that's happened also until, I think until today. One of the channel, my previous broadcast, still produce 6 hours variety show a day. To end, this one is live. So I think also the Indonesia channel is like that because they're looking for the rating. They are crazy about the rating. If you buy Turkish drama, Indian drama, 100 episodes, but if you broadcast 10 episodes, not have rating, they cancel it. That's the problem also for Indonesia broadcast. Easy to cancel, easy to continue. That's for the attitude of the broadcaster because the rating target. So talking about the co-production, yes, Indonesia is open for the co-production because now, the last 10 years, Indonesian broadcaster controlled by the finance. Control the finance means they don't like the IP who have for other people. So whatever they produce or they buy, they want to have all right to do for the valuation of the company. That's what I also feel. Internationally it doesn't work like that, but some stations want to do like that. So you cannot run away. So once you co-production, you have to feel that for Indonesia, you have to give the IP right. That's also other problem for co-production. But for the movie, it's more free. For the movie product, it's more free. Like I produced 4 theatrical movie co-production with Vietnam and Hong Kong. I do territory for Indonesia, Singapore, and Malay, and the rest is the other partner. So it's more easier for the film industry, but for broadcast or TV content, it's a little bit tricky or restriction. But as my colleagues say, in general, in Indonesia, the free content can distribute freely is animation, because in Indonesia cannot work with animation. It's very expensive to produce animation, so that's why Indonesia can for the channel still imported or buying the animation. The rest are like drama. Indonesia now, I think in the last 5 years, it's very difficult for American series. There is no American series broadcast in free TV because the rating is all
3 episodes, but we used only the first 4 episodes. Again, the problem of the pace. We are actually in quite serious discussions with Media Prima, my friend here, Saiful. We are seeing how we can localize Jajak Rasul, because Jajak Rasul travels to Indonesia every year. I mean, we sell it to a broadcaster every year. We bought all the Jajak Rasuls from the 1990s till the latest one. So we're discussing with Media Prima, I mean, it's very initial discussion, how we can work with the Indonesian broadcaster, put an Indonesian anchor there, and make it more localized. I mean, just not like buy and sell, but make it more like a local content. And if you have a few minutes, just to give you a glimpse of, this is a little bit different, it's about the theatrical films that are made in Indonesia.
Yang lain, karena kamu masih seperti layaknya dalam
Nagapotong is Isha.
For our last speaker, please.
And it was a huge success in Pakistan as well as in Indonesia. We had a double crew doing the Indonesian version separately and the Pakistani version separately, but the script was the same. And what we did to make it more popular in Indonesia was that we picked up some tunes, hit tunes from Indonesia, and adapted them to the Pakistani songs. and that did the trick. So I feel that with the culture and the censor policy and everything so exact to what Pakistan has, it would be a very good proposal to have a co-production with Malaysia as well as Indonesia. And I think Malaysia has a lot of technical facilities here with Pinewood Studios here. I don't know what kind of a rating they would give for a post-production or a shoot here and getting a landscape and making a film. I would like really to meet someone from Pinewood Studios to give me a sort of a rate to what a co-production would cost, even an animated one. Because I have seen a lot of animation being produced in Malaysia, and especially the Ramzan ones. They're very, very good, I feel. And if they are economical, then I think it will be a very good proposition to work with the Malaysian industry. So I'm open to this. If anybody has any ideas about that they could come forward and discuss it.
As a member of SICAM, we can lead you on to see them after this.
Okay, great.
And also you will be available for the rest of the day to any one of you who would like to take up the offer to talk further to Susai. Please do so after this. Okay, we've got limited time now. To question and answers from the floor. Please, yeah. We'll do this for the next 10 minutes, and after that, another few minutes for you to ask any further questions to the panel, to yesterday's panel. They are all here. There have been some queries. This is your last opportunity to ask in this open forum, please.
Good morning. Get a pre-sale fixed in, you have to come and display your product. As far as my company is concerned, we buy only programs which are already made, which are already telecast. So I don't do much on a pre-sale, but I'm giving an idea. Malaysian government have a common Malaysian booth in most of the markets. You have to definitely move forward, because in today's scenario, if you expose your products globally when you attend those markets, then the pre-sale is much more.
Indian dramas and because the audience will allow on foreign dramas to be. Oh, should I start? I was saying that you all three mentioned before. You mentioned that Indonesians like dramas where everything happens fast-paced. But I've seen that a lot of Indians and Turkish dramas that have been successful there are not fast-paced. Indian dramas, we all know, are not as fast as you produce the cinematograms. The same with Turkish. Why do you think that happens there? Is that because the audience will allow foreign dramas to be slow-paced, but not Indonesian dramas?
Can I answer? Okay. About the foreign program like Turkish or Japanese, Indian drama or telenovela, or China drama who have 100 episodes, the broadcast have the right to edit. Sometimes 5 episodes of the Indian novella become 1. So we do internally edit slow. That's what my friend says.
In fact, there is one series which is like more than 30 episodes to the. So they're quite good because local production is expensive to make. So when they compare, the finance team is very happy to buy foreign content because it's cheaper and they get the ratings faster. If it doesn't work, they just tell the distributors like us, like, okay, sorry, we can only buy only 10 episodes. So the risk is lesser. Of course, Turkish, the advantage is they don't have too many episodes, but then the quality is very high. So the audience is starved for good quality. That's the niche Turkish content has. But mind you, there is a lot of editing done. And we have one editor who's very good in editing Indian content, and he's busy for the next 7 lives. Because Indian episodes, each of them go to 2,000 episodes. So I think if you add up the numbers, I think he's never going to wake up. So I think if you add up the numbers, I think he's never going to wake up.
Question, did they pay for the 30 episode or just one episode?
Initially, they 30 down to 1. The rate thing happens anywhere in the world. So if your ratings today are good, you're back in business tomorrow. If you're not, the title is just thrown out. There is no courtesy to the title is just thrown out. There is no courtesy to the audience. What happened to this guy in this series? It just got gone off. Because rating rules everything.
My suggestion would be for you guys, Indian are being now reduced number of episodes, and probably what you can do is you can take those versions instead of buying a 600 episode, they now made it to 250 episode, suits the Arabic market. So when it suits the Arabic market, naturally this will be good for Indonesia, Malaysia as well. So probably you can catch up those kind of reduced, already edited, and made it just for the television. I suggest you guys can use the titles as well.
And coming back to that, we as PPR, we actually give the first 50 episodes free. And Jose, are we signing the deal? You got the answer.
Yes, my name is Anwardi. I'm from Banana Cat. I'd like to know, because the advent of OTTs, recently there's a lot of requests for short form products, not long form. What do you see the trend in your countries for short form? Short form meaning less than 10 minutes.
Okay, as for the OTTs, as I mentioned before, for short program, but I am intending to look at about 50, sort of a fast-paced drama or a fast-paced documentary, probably, for my services in Indonesia for SBOD. But it is usually 5 minutes, 10 minutes now. I would introduce a 5 minutes program because of to fill in the gap for the advertising right now. Yeah, because it's less and less, it gets less and lesser, you cannot fill it in, right? So 1 or 2 stations right now are looking for 5 minutes programming to fill it in. That's what
Okay, we're going to open this forum to yesterday's presenters also. First, can I call Fatih to say a few words about the Middle East? And Mr. John from China, he has to fly off just after lunch. If there is any questions to be directed to him, please ask. If not, I'm going to ask John to say a few words. He's Malaysian, by the way. He made a ton of money 3 months back. So let's see whether you want to share with us after this. Fatih.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to add a few comments from our perspective because I've been asked to get more insights about the Middle East. Basically, for the buyers, we just need to be aware. It's first thing in the Middle East is not just one territory. It's an eclectic mix of countries with different needs and requirements. Primarily, the source. I'm going to say a few basic things and a few complex things. Please bear with me. First of all, there's HD and SD. I mean, most of the content that is being acquired now, it's in full HD, except in some territories, particularly North Africa, where SD is still acceptable. The format is mostly 1 hour TV formats. So the duration of on the tape is 40 to 42 minutes, but it fits within 1 hour of TV time to allow for the commercial breaks. Your presentation has to be, the language of communication is primarily English in the GCC areas and Arabic in any other territories. We just need to be aware that in North Africa they don't speak English. You need to also be wary. There's a difference between pay TV platforms. There are not many. I'm one of them. And free-to-air, which makes the predominant of the buyer's market, and the new emergings are the OTTs. But from those OTTs as well, the purchasing power fluctuates significantly. So you have on the higher spectrum Stars, Netflix, on the lower ones the new startups. Payment schedule and structure also, it's something to be wary of. There's a different payment systems according to the territories and the country. Some countries in North Africa, they have to get permission from the central bank to transfer the money. Others have very free, open policy, financial policy like the GCC, so everything is paid in bank transfers. I would say when you talk to potential buyers, just be wary of the middleman or the not so middleman. You know, either you use a reputable companies to negotiate your deal, or go straight to the source, and they all mostly have open door policy now. But there's a lot of people who pretend to represent a network, and actually they just know someone who knows someone. So it's these things are predominant, unfortunately. I would stress that also the new trend now is format licensing. It worked well in the States and in Europe. You don't need to go to MIPCOM to find out very good content. You know, I've seen great things here, especially in the talent and the music shows. So you can license your content even if it's not taped as a format. And if it worked in Malaysia, I'm sure it can work in other territories as well. I talked to Belinda just this morning about the good presentation. You just have to have a very good, snazzy, funky presentation. The impact is very important on your first meeting. Delivery method. Most of the content where I work in Dubai, it's now through file transfer, so very few people send us content on hard disk. And if it's not on file transfer, it's on hard disk. Nobody uses tapes and DVDs and things like that. Even in the presentations, some laptops don't have DVDs. You just need to be aware of, especially in the GCC, possibly in other countries. If I talk too much, just let me know.
1 more minute.
1 more minute. Oh God. Okay. Okay. What's being bought? Animated series. But also, I think the cooking shows, travel shows, wildlife shows, drama, particularly in North Africa. And I'll stop there. I've got more things, but if you can meet me later on, I can tell you more. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatih. John, would you like to say a few words?
Hi, good morning. So I'm leaving, so I'm gonna be quick. Because yesterday I brought my friend from Alibaba, and he has some new content that I actually want to come back to Malaysia to bring fellow Malaysian to produce more content for China. I mean, basically making money, right? So there's this new concept I think you guys should consider. It's interaction movie. So it's like halfway you watch the movie, internet movie, halfway you watch it, about 10 minutes down, it stops for 5-10 seconds. And expected to go south or north. So and it's starting to boom, and then you know why? Because I don't know whether Indonesian they allow that kind of content. Yeah, it's done before, but China likes it, and then the reason is because more viewership gives you more money. So if it keeps looping, the viewership, the number keeps going up, and you make more money. So that's So I thought that was actually quite fun to do, and then it's quite easy. So you guys can try. And then you have my email if you have some good concept. If you can start also shoot a small pilot, and like I said yesterday, give me a short treatment and a nice PPT. Then if you have the budget to do a small pilot, you know, send it my way as well. And you know, I can also invest, but mostly we get the platforms or you know the broadcaster to pay for it usually. Also, since I'm here, I'm going to ask some of the panels about the ratings. You said we broadcast, you guys broadcasted for at least 5 to 10 episodes, and if the rating is not good, you guys cancel it, and the producers doesn't get the money. Or is that
They get paid for the 5 episodes.
okay? Or get paid for 5 episodes. Okay, then we can do a tag team like the Malaysian. So we invest the first portion, and then we sell it part to it's a co-production basically. We can air in China, and then we can monetize part of it from Indonesia, right? You know, some of us can get together and figure this out.
There's a lot of opportunities here from what we gather here. And I also feel at this point in time that we should have a longer conference on the business opportunities. Perhaps next time we arrange something.
Yeah. John, I have my trailers on hard drive. It's not on YouTube. I can give it back to you so you can try China.
From Australia. 2 minutes?
Okay. So I think that some of the main opportunities in Australia for Malaysian production, we've been speaking about this, for the last day or so. One of the main opportunities I can see that exists is the expat community of Malaysians in Australia. We spoke about over dinner last night the fact that in 2018 alone, 10,000 Malaysians immigrated to Australia. And at the moment, there's a population of about 163,000. Very small in regards to the major total, but in Australia, we're a very new, I would say, country in regards that we're only 200 years old, and that it's mainly made up of, obviously British, Irish, Greek, Italian, a big mixed community. So I can see that there's potential for the Malays that are living in Australia to watch content that has been produced here. And it was one of the discussions that I had with Johan last night. At the moment, there is no channel that actually broadcasts to that expat community. So I think when you're looking at your rights and you're looking at your distribution, keep in mind that there may be opportunities in the near future with the likes of Netflix, who are very on the front foot to recognise that opportunity, or be on the front foot yourself and contact, these kind of OTT networks to target these overseas Malay people, because there's many different ways to get your programming across. One, we're talking about global countries airing your programming that may have the same cultural values, but another way is to recognise that a lot of people that are the exact target market for your programming aren't living in Malaysia anymore. So just another aspect to think about. But again, it's a really important point to realise that there are things in Malaysia that don't exist in other countries, and that other countries are very interested in the culture, in the natural wildlife, and things that do cross borders. So keep an open mind when you're programming or when you're producing, that there are other opportunities that always exist.
Thank you. Very good idea. We discussed it a bit last night, and I think we can develop this further in the near future. Okay, to close off the panel this morning, again, just before closing, we'll be having the networking session after this. Please just register yourself, and we'll get to see all the panels again. But just to close off the this panel, can I start on the other end? 2 minutes each, if you have anything to say.
I just wanted to make it very clear that our dramas, Pakistani dramas, have become so popular that India was forced to open up a separate TV channel by the name of Zee TV, and it was exclusively broadcasting Pakistani television serials. And the advantage with our serials are, they are not 100 episodes, something like that. There are 22, 24 episodes. And very neat, clean family entertainment, modern also. And with all the problems that are going universally, I mean the daughter-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, those problems are there in every community, in every society. And we are projecting that in a very positive manner, and also related to other problems that are in the society at the present moment. And I think our dramas are doing pretty well everywhere, where the language is so easy because India speaks the same language. There's not hardly any difference. And we have English dialogue spotting lists, which give you the exact duration of the dialogue spoken so that it can be punched at the right time. So we've done all our homework when we try to sell our dramas, and there is no problem. As far as the Turkish dramas go, they do not give you any English dialogue spotting list. You have to look for a translator to translate Turkish language and then write the dialogues for that.
So there's potential for us to do co-production.
Yes, the potential is very much there for Malaysia as well as for Indonesia. But several times I've come here and I've seen that Pinewood Studios is here, which is basically from UK. All the Bond films are made there, and it's got a very good rate here. They are offering very good rates. So I would like, if it's possible, that to have a meeting with them, and maybe we could suggest for some proposal, which should be a co-production between Malaysia and Pakistan, and for animation project also.
Okay, we'll arrange for that.
Yes.
Nafi?
Okay, so I'd like to share some strategy. So we want to mix up whether we're going to pay like 1 episode or 30 episodes in advance. So the strategy is, I mean, for all the players is you have to be investing on into the production of the local content. So otherwise, you also can co-produce for localized content, and it has to be integrated with not just for free to air, but it's also with the digital, which is already there. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Nafi.
We are open to every kind of co-productions, even pre-sales. So anybody is ready, we are here the whole day, and I'm serious, we are very, very keen for co-productions. We bought Agent Ali a pre-sale before even it was produced. It's just being launched a year back. So anybody wants to do any co-productions, we are right here. Please, thank you.
There you go, Malaysian producers. Susanna.
Well, I don't have really much more to say because we're all Indonesians here. So yes, we are open for any co-productions, series, dramas, formats, any ideas of variety. It will actually can come into Indonesia in every aspects of free TV, pay TV, SVOD, new medias. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Nagar.
Yeah, I welcome any of the already produced programs with international track and script in English. You can approach me, I can try to market it wherever possible.
Thank you. Yandi?
Yeah, I think it's all my colleagues say it's open opportunity for Malay company to co-production. And the first step, I mean, the easy way to do is when you co-production is also for the sale location, shooting in Indonesia and shooting in Malaysia. I think it's one of the. Last night I discussed with some Dato about shooting Indonesia, how difficult shooting Indonesia. I think you have to find out the right partner. It's easy to Indonesia. So that's what I call easy to Indonesia, as long as you got a good partner. Thank you.
I think that you all would agree with me that this has been a very interesting panel and talk. Let's give them a big round of applause to the panel. And I'll pass this back to Farid.
Thank you very much, Dato. To round up today's program this morning, before we move on to the B2B, because we're running a bit late, we need to get that started quickly because we need to end at 12:30 for Friday prayers today. I hope you understand. We have an extended lunch till 2:30. We'll continue back again that session for the B2B till 5:30. So you have ample opportunity. Take advantage. Meet this wonderful people, great friendly people, and explore the business with them. Dato', as a token of appreciation, I would appreciate if you can hand over some gifts to them. To Mr. Triandi. Mr. Naga from India. Mr. Rajesh from Indonesia. Mr. Nafi. Thank you, Nafi, for the presentation. And last but not least, Mr. Saeed, who's spoken for the second time. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, you're welcome. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. So we'll have a 10-15 minute break, and we'll call you back in. But don't forget, we will rearrange the room to B2B layout. Please get your schedules that have already been determined outside, a sheet of paper. And any questions, please approach any of our staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys, I'll be back. Oops.